Why is she always so lucky? Why does it seem that to some people it just falls into their lap and they don't have to work and it's all just coming to them naturally, while you are struggling and working and doing and everything seems so hard? If that sounds familiar, well, I have an idea. I don't know if it's the only reason, but I think it is a big, big part of it. And I want to share this idea with you and also some practical tips. Let's go. Hello, hello, hello. You're listening to 1 week at a time, where we discover topics like living mindfully on a day-to-day basis and becoming your true, authentic self. I'm Vanessa, your host, and today we are talking about a hidden superpower I think we all possess and we don't use as well as we could. I think we've all heard, probably more than once, this famous quote from Henry Ford, which says, whether you can or you can't, you're right. But why is it true? Why does it conclude so much? And why are some people, or at least seem to be always lucky, and that it's also easy, while you are not that lucky, while you are struggling, while others always seem to have this bad luck? And I think it comes down to one system in our brain. And the first time I've heard about this was during my education as a hypnotherapist. We learned a lot about the subconscious and how our brain works and what's going on behind the scenes. And back then I remember I found it so interesting and it stayed in my mind since that day. And what I'm talking about is the reticular activating system, short RAS. You can forget about that term directly after this episode, but just so you heard it once, what we're talking about. Imagine this like a bouncer at a VIP club. The VIP club is our brain and the bouncer is the RAS. And there is thousands of thoughts every second that want to come in, that want to gain access, and the bouncer makes the decision who comes in and who has to stay outside. The RAS is actually a network of neurons in our brain stem, and it plays a really big role in our arousal, our sleep-wake system, and our attention. Because it does what the bouncer does. It filters out which informations are important and which informations should we process further, on which one can we just ignore. And what it also does is it influences our motivation, whether we want to do a thing or not. This is when the RAS is coming into play as well. So it basically plays a role in kind of every part of life, doesn't it? So how does this work? Imagine yourself and you're opening social media on your phone and you're scrolling and you're seeing things and the algorithm shows you more and more of what you're interested in. Whatever sparks your interest, it shows you more of that. And all of a sudden, everyone seems to have the same opinion and you get more content that's similar to that one. This is actually what the RAS does, but in real life. It's basically like an algorithm in our real life that's based in our brain. And I'm so sure we've all experienced it from time to time. Imagine you have a friend or you yourself want to get pregnant. And all of a sudden, every woman out there seems to be pregnant or having a baby in her cart and carrying it through the streets. And you see so many pregnant women around you. Or, for example, you want to buy a certain type of car and you see this car all of a sudden all around where you think like, why is everyone driving this car right now? Where does this come from? Like there haven't been so many of that car yesterday, have there? And sometimes I think this is how trends happen. We see one thing and we see it more and more. And maybe in the beginning we think like, well, that's a bit weird. Like, for example, the Labubu doll. In the beginning, I thought like, what is with this creepy doll? Why is everyone wearing this creepy doll and what is it? And then I took a dive into the rabbit hole because I was curious and I wanted to know where it came from and why it pops up and why it is so popular these days. That the more I see these Labubu dolls, the cuter I tend to find them. I'm not close to buying one myself because I'm not participating in this trend, but I notice how my view of this thing changed from the first interaction with it, like first time seeing a Labubu doll, versus now that I think like, okay, cute, and this is the whatsoever colored one. And the same thing I took notice happened. I'm a millennial. Like I was born in the 90s, actually 90. And when we grew up, ankle socks were the shit. Like you didn't wear socks that were high rise. Like you just didn't do that, wear dead socks or whatsoever. And these days, what everyone wears are the high rise socks. And I noticed it transitioned. Like the more I saw this, the more I went away from wearing these ankle socks towards to joining the high-rise socks club now. And it feels normal again to wear that, and false to wear the other thing is like you look like skinny jeans, for example. We don't do skinny jeans any longer. And I would wear them if I want to. I'm not into trends. I'm just wearing what I like. But the more we're out there seeing something different on a daily basis, we tend to adapt as well. I think you have noticed this probably as well. And there's one more thing where it comes to play, and I think that's a crucial one we're not often aware about. And this is watching the news or watching TV or whatsoever in general, what you let into your mind. Like when you watch the news every day and it's war out there. I mean, it's a dark world out there, to be fair. But all you consume is these news and what happened in your city, who was attacked, what accidents happened. You tend to go out subconsciously and tend to think this world is a more dangerous place than it maybe actually is, because you wired your brain to see all the dangers around. I noticed for myself, I had a phase where I was really into true crime. I was listening to true crime podcasts, watched some documentaries on Netflix and whatsoever, and I was really curious about that. I don't know what it is with true crime and especially women, because I just don't know. I didn't figure that out. There are many ideas why, but never mind. That's not the topic. And I noticed that I started to feeling more insecure in my own place. Like when I came home, I checked so many places in my apartment before I could go to sleep, for example. Or when I came home, I just walked around the whole apartment. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing to do, but I noticed an increase in that. I did that since I'm a child. Don't get me wrong. I'm always checking kind of why, I don't know, but I'm always doing it. But I noticed that it increased really a lot when I was listening and consuming more true crime, because my brain was wired to, okay, your own place might be unsafe as well. And it learned that. And then I noticed that and I was like, well, maybe it's not the best thing to consume, and I stopped doing that again. From time to time, I listen or watch something, but really on a lower level, and I'm taking care of myself since I noticed that. So if you're in this rabbit hole, especially the true crime rabbit hole, some people can go to sleep with that. I don't know. No judgment. I just don't understand. But if you're in that rabbit hole, really look out for yourself and really check if it's doing you any good or not. If it isn't harming you in any way, continue. But I'm just saying that it's good to really do a check-in with ourselves from time to time. And the last thing where it comes into play, and we all know this, is you're in a crowded room, let's say a party or whatsoever, and someone says your name, no matter how quiet. It might not even be that the person is talking to you, but it's just using your name or something that sounds familiar. And all of a sudden we're like, what? We're here. Who wanted something? And this is the same thing. There were so many noises, so many words, so many things going on around us that our brain, the VIP bouncer, has to check. And in that moment, it's like, oh, we know this one. We have to look. It's important. And with that, we come back to the quote from Henry Ford and why there are so many lucky people in this world and why it sometimes seems that for some people, it's just easier. I think we've all heard, or I guess we've all heard the term Nepo baby, which is like the saying, it's not a nice word, by the way, which is the saying of nepotism, like someone follows the path a parent took. For example, a daughter of a famous actor becomes an actress herself, and people say, yeah, of course she had it easy because her father is an actor herself. And there's a few examples of that, like Leni Klum, the daughter of Heidi Klum, which is a model. Who else do we have? We have Blake Lively, who's daughter of an actor, I think, or someone in the movie industry already. We have Miley Cyrus. Her father is a famous country singer as well. And we have Hailey Bieber, for example. Don't remember what her parents did, but these are all these so-called Nepo baby. And I think, what's wrong about that? If you are a parent, you want the best for your child, don't you? And if you can open doors for them, then you gladly do that. So I think there's nothing wrong with that in general. Our parents did the same for us where they could, didn't they? I hope so. At least mine did. So I hope yours did as well. And what I always think is the part that people forget is, yeah, maybe it was easier for them because they grew up in a certain environment and doors were opened. But in the end, they still had to do the job. Like if Miley Cyrus wouldn't be able to sing beautifully or act, she started as an actress, I think, acting, singing, both. I don't know. If she wouldn't have done her job well, she wouldn't be where she is today, even though her father is from the industry. The same for Blake Lively as an actress. If no one would have wanted to see any movie where she participated, or Gossip Girl would have been a big flop, for example, yeah, well, then all of her heritage would be like, no one cared if there's no interest in the person in general, would there? So I think that's the part that we really can't forget. And that counts for everyone that seems successful because it's easy for them, or because they have the environment, or because. Yes, maybe the opportunities were there a little easier than for a common person, but in the end, they had to do the hard work to get and stay where they are. So it's not that simple as saying, you're a Nepo baby, it was easy for you. So since we're not Nepo babies, I assume, and I really don't mean it in a bad way, don't get me wrong. Since I was not that lucky to grow into a succession and have it easy, I had to learn some things myself, and I want to share them with you. Like, what can you actually do to make use of your RAS on a daily basis? What can we do to be lucky in a daily basis as well? And the first thing, and I think it's very cheesy, but here it comes into play that you see it and that you have it in your mind and in front of you on paper, on your screen, whatsoever, is a vision board. It is really a good thing to see what you're striving for, what you're working for on a regular basis, because the subconscious has this picture in front of it and it knows like, oh, this is our goal. So throughout the day, it will do like the same with the pregnancy and the car, with filter, like what helps us to get to what that goal, where are the opportunities that we can take, and it shows that it's highlighting these things. It's more likely, at least, that it does that if we really have a vision board that works for us. And it's important that shows what we really want, not what our mom wants, not what our teacher wants, not what your best friend wants from your life, but what you actually want. And if that's on that, it can really unfold some magic. The same goes for manifestation in any way. Like I showed you my manifestation book where, for example, every morning, if I feel like, sometimes I don't, write a manifestation sentence in that, which is always the same. Sometimes I do this 2 or 3 times to like write it in and write it over and over again, the same like the vision board. So it's clear in my mind, and that when the day starts and I'm still in this phase of waking up and not being fully there, it can really get into the subconscious mind and do its magic there. And with that, we can actually see why manifestation is more than just spirituality, because when we get the connection between the RAS, our subconscious, and what we're doing and what we're putting in, like what our eyes see, what we feel, we wire ourselves that it's more likely that what we wish for, that what we desire for, that what we manifest will actually be reality one day. And the same goes for practicing gratitude. For example, the day is finished and you're in bed, and through your mind, you're going through what are you grateful for. It's the way of seeing the positivity and the good things that are already in your life. Like you can be grateful for so many things. For example, that you are healthy. I wish that for you at least. That you are in a warm bed, that you had enough food and clean water for the day, that you maybe met a friend, that you have friends, that you have a job, even though you might not be the biggest fan of your job, but that you have a job that provides for your life, that takes care of you, that you maybe had a colleague that day that said something nice. There are so many things. You can get into so much detail as you like you're not always saying, okay, I'm grateful for my house, my boyfriend, and my dog. You can do that, but the further you go and the more you make it a challenge to find different things on a daily basis, the more you are likely to see it throughout your day-to-day life, every day again, to see the beautiful things you can be grateful for in the evening. And this is a way of training by going the other way around. Like the day happened and you're looking back, and the more you do that, the more likely you see the things to be grateful for in the exact moment they are happening. And this is when magic happens, honestly. How much did I say magic by now? Well, and with the gratefulness comes another thing, which is actually the reflection of the day. You can go through your day in a way and think, okay, were there actually opportunities I didn't take, but they were there? I just didn't notice them in that moment. And the important part is not to be sad or feel dismotivated or be mad about yourself that you didn't take them. It's the same thing actually with like practicing gratitude. You notice, and the next time you will see the opportunity happening and you can take the chance. But if you're not training your brain to see them, you might likely oversee so many opportunities throughout the day, throughout the week, that you just didn't see. And in that moment, it's the same. It's like they're highlighted. It's like there's a da around it, and you feel like, oh, this is a chance. I should continue this conversation because this person might have the idea I needed, or might be the connector to someone else I needed, or whatsoever. Or you're just open to, okay, I'm thinking about something and I don't have the answer right now. But if I go through the day with open eyes, maybe I can find the solution. And then it comes easier to really notice it instead of just passing by. And last but not least, it's a good tool to use it as a counterproof. I think we all know things where we're thinking like, well, I'm not good at X, Y, and Z. In my example, I could use this a little more often, to be honest, is if I'm saying I'm bad at math, for example. I'm not the best at math. I never was. And the more often I say it to myself, the more is my brain learning like, okay, we're not good at math. Well, it is what it is. But if we go into detail and if we really look closely into it, is it really true? Or is it just that we don't use it as often as we could in our day-to-day life? Like for my example, every time I use a calculator. Like, why should I do that in my head? Because I'm bad at math, right? But if we really focus on getting to see if it's really true, we often find the opposite. We often find reasons why it's not true that we think we're bad at one thing. You can say, oh, I'm a bad friend. And then you look at it and you see so many, I'm so sure you will, so many points where it's crystal clear that you're absolutely not a bad friend. Maybe you didn't act the way you would have done in hindsight when you look at a certain situation or how you handle things sometimes. But that doesn't mean overall you're bad at something. And this is so interesting to really go into these beliefs that we have in ourselves sometimes and really double check them, because the likelihood that they are not 100% true is really big. So basically, I think we can sum this up with the sentence, where focus goes, energy flows. And there we are with where focus goes. Our RAS is filtering it and gives it the energy to really see it and to really go that direction. You can use it to your advantage or your disadvantage. It's your choice. And if you feel like it, you can make a little mini challenge to experience this directly. What if for the rest of this day or the next day, depending on when you watch the video or listen to this episode, you set an intention and you want to experience something. You can just think, okay, if you're going out and you want to go in the city, for example, I want to see only red cars today. And the subconscious will do exactly that. Or you open your eyes for, okay, I want to see that people are actually good. And if you really try to focus and see that there's so much good out there, you will be able to see it. So make it a mini challenge for the next 24 hours maybe and see what you experience throughout that time. And then you can continue it and like rewire your brain like in the examples I told you before. And yeah, training the subconscious is not witchcraft. We can train it. It can be simple, even though it's not always easy. And fun fact, I have a code word with my partner when we see the other thinking too negatively or setting the focus on something negative. We just say a super random word that has nothing to do with the situation. That's not even saying, oh, you're thinking in a bad way, but that's just an interruption of, okay, do you really want to think that way? And we know the other one doesn't. And then we just say something random. And sometimes that's all it needs, a little interruption to realize, oh, this is where my focus went, and then change it intentionally. So the next time you notice that you're thinking that someone is so lucky and that is so easy for them, remind yourself of the RAS, the reticular activating system, and think differently. Maybe this person just trained hers better than you did, and you can take advantage of that from now on as well. So thank you for sharing your time with me. I wish you a beautiful rest of the day. And if you have someone that you notice is not using the brain to the full advantage they could, send this episode to them and grow together, you and the other person. Maybe even make it a challenge like I do with my partner, and push yourself and manifest together and enjoy the good things together and really make it fun to grow together and to use the superpower that we all own. And with that, I hear you or I see you next Sunday. Wish you a beautiful week ahead. Bye, 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 bye. Mwah.